Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. My fingers closed around Sophie's wrist before my brain caught up. She turned fast, eyes wide, like I had yanked a fire alarm. I tried to play it off with a grin that felt glued on. The second her hand stopped moving, everyone's laughter got louder. I'm Mason, 29, and I still hate writing that sentence, because it makes me sound like a cautionary poster. I was already smiling like an idiot, and I could not stop. Have you ever felt your body betray you in public hard? Sophie's ring pressed into my thumb, sharp and undeniable. I had noticed it before, but not like that. Up close it felt like a warning sign. I kept touching anyway. I loosened my grip and she did not move. Hey, her voice was quiet, but it landed heavy. I nodded too much, like nodding could fix anything. My mouth opened and a laugh slipped out instead. Jared's stare burned into my cheek from somewhere behind her. I told myself I was steady, and I almost believed it. My legs disagreed, shifting like they were on a boat. I adjusted my stance and pretended it was casual. Sophie's eyebrows lifted, and I knew she saw through it. Her fiancé was not there, and that mattered in my head. I hate that it mattered, but it did. My brain tried to label this as harmless flirting. Her ring pushed back against that story every second. Someone nearby clinked a glass and people whooped. I flinched like I had been called out by name. Sophie glanced past me, scanning faces like she wanted an exit. I stepped closer instead, and that was the real mistake. I did not mean to corner her, that's my excuse. But my shoulder blocked the easiest path away. She leaned back a fraction, and I felt it like a slap. I swallowed and my throat made a stupid noise. Are you okay? Sophie asked, eyes locked on mine. I wanted to say yes, simple and clean. What came out was a ramble that sounded confident to nobody. She blinked twice and her mouth went tight. I reached for her hand again, slower this time. Like slow made it respectful, like slow made it fine. She pulled back and my fingers brushed her ring. That tiny contact made my stomach drop, then surge. I told myself she was only being careful at work. I told myself she was only worried about gossip. I told myself she wanted this, just not in front of them. I can hear how pathetic that sounds even now. Jared appeared at my side, palm pressing my elbow. Not hard, just firm enough to steer me. Sophie gave him a grateful look, and that look stung. It was like watching someone pick a side without words. Let's get water. Jared's smile was polite and sharp. I shook my head too fast and my vision jittered. Sophie's eyes flicked to my mouth like she expected more. I did not shut up, and I should have. I'm fine, I heard myself say it like a dare. Sophie's shoulders rose, then dropped like she was done trying. She stepped away and the space between us felt huge. Then I did the worst thing, I followed. She stopped near a group and I stopped right behind her. Too close again, like I had learned nothing in minutes. She turned and her voice went flat. Do not, one word, and I still moved. My hand lifted toward her cheek, like some movie moment. That's how it felt in my head for half a second. In reality, it was clumsy, desperate, and obvious. Her ring flashed near my face and I reached anyway. Sophie caught my wrist, this time firm and calm. Her grip said she had practiced boundaries with men like me. She leaned in just enough for only me to hear. If you do this, it changes everything, understand? I tapped my card too fast, then tapped again like it failed. The bartender lifted one brow, then slid my drink over. I took a big pull to prove I was fine. It hit my empty stomach like a bad idea immediately. Jared bumped my shoulder and raised his own cup. Work wins, he tipped it back and watched me. I tipped mine back too, trying to match the pace. My throat burned and I pretended that was normal. I kept telling myself it was a slow night for me. One drink, maybe two, then I would switch. That plan lasted about 90 seconds. A new cup appeared in my hand and I did not refuse. Try this, someone pushed the glass toward my fingers. I sniffed it once, then shrugged like a grown adult. It tasted sweet enough to feel safe, which was the trap. I drained half of it before my brain voted. I checked the time on my phone and blinked hard. The number swam, then snapped into place again. I laughed at that like it was cute, not alarming. Then I typed a text and my thumbs missed every letter. A coworker clapped behind me, loud and sudden. Speech, a few people echoed it looking at me. I lifted my cup like I belonged at the center. The cheer sounded friendly, but it boxed me in. I started talking and the words came out fast. I threw in a joke, then another, chasing their reaction. A couple laughs landed, so I chased harder. I felt my face heat up and I leaned into it. Sophie was across the room, watching in short glances. Not staring, just checking like she sensed trouble brewing. I caught her eye and lifted my cup at her. She lifted hers back, then looked away quick. That look lit up something petty in me. Like I needed her to keep looking at me. I hate admitting that part, but it's true. So I walked over before I could rethink it. I tried to slow down, but my feet argued. My steps were fine, then weird, then fine again. I corrected my posture, like that fixed the wobble. Sophie's eyes tracked me and I saw her brace. Hey, you good? She held her cup close to her chest. I nodded too hard and almost overdid it. Great, I flashed my teeth like a sales pitch. Her mouth twitched and it was not amusement. I reached for the water station, missed it, then laughed. Not a cute laugh either, more like a bark. Sophie glanced at my hand, then at my face. Her gaze felt like a quick inventory of risk. I tried to switch topics, anything simple and safe. My brain offered nothing but bold moves and bad jokes. I asked her about work, then forgot the question mid-sentence. She tilted her head and the silence got sharp. Jared slipped in behind me, close enough to hear. He murmured, "Slow down," and pressed 2 fingers to my arm. I shrugged him off like I was being handled. Sophie saw that and her expression changed, cooler. I grabbed another drink to look in control. That sounds insane, but drunk logic is loud. I took a gulp, then another, chasing steadiness. Instead, I got a sudden rush, and my judgment peeled away. Sophie stepped half a pace back, barely noticeable. My brain flagged it, then ignored the warning. I leaned forward, trying to be charming on purpose. Her shoulders tensed, and I felt the line right there. Seriously, her voice dropped and my pulse jumped. She held my gaze like she wanted me to choose correctly. I wanted to choose correctly, I swear I did. Then my mouth opened, and the wrong confidence took over again. Jared grabbed my forearm and pulled me sideways, hard. My shoulder bumped a stranger, and I mumbled something useless. Sophie stayed planted, like she refused to be dragged too. That should have been my wake-up call, but it was. Bathroom now, Jared's teeth barely moved as he spoke. I tried to twist free, acting offended like I had dignity. He tightened his grip, and his nails dug through my sleeve. People noticed, and a little circle started forming, quietly. I snapped, "I'm not a kid," way louder than I meant. A few heads turned fast, and the heat climbed my neck. Jared didn't argue, he just walked me anyway. My feet followed and my pride stayed behind, watching. I glanced back and Sophie was talking to someone near her. Her hands moved sharp, like she was setting rules out loud. She looked up once and her face went blank. That blank look felt worse than yelling by far. Jared steered me near the hall, then blocked my path. He held out his palm, like stop was the only word. "Do not go back," his voice dropped low and serious. I nodded, then immediately leaned around him, searching. Sophie started to move away, and I moved too. I hate writing that, but I did. Jared shoved my chest with 2 fingers, warning and controlled. I shoved his hand off like a jerk for no reason. A coworker I barely knew stepped between us, hands up. "Hey, chill," he looked at me like I was unstable. I laughed and it came out thin and ugly. Then I tried to walk past them anyway, still focused. Sophie reached the hallway corner and I caught up fast. "Wait," my voice cracked, which somehow made me push harder. She turned and her chin lifted like a shield. "What are you doing?" Her words landed clean, no mercy. I started apologizing, but my mouth wouldn't stay on track. I reached out, then stopped, then reached again, pathetic. Sophie backed up 1 pace and her hand rose between us. Her engagement ring flashed again, and I still didn't retreat. Why? "I can't," she shook her head once, firm and final. I heard the sentence, then argued with it anyway. I leaned in like closeness could rewrite reality. Her palm hit my shoulder and she pushed me off fast. Jared rushed in, breath sharp, and yanked me backward. My heel clipped the wall and I nearly went down. Sophie's voice cut through the hall, steady and cold. "Don't touch me." That line froze the air immediately. Someone behind Sophie raised a phone, angled like a weapon. I saw the lens in my stomach flipped hard. I lifted both hands, trying to look harmless all at once. That move only made me look guiltier on camera. Jard dragged me toward the lobby, and I stumbled along. I tried to joke like jokes could erase footage. Jard didn't laugh, he just kept moving with purpose. His silence scared me more than shouting, because it felt official. Near the elevator, Sophie appeared again, walking with a friend. She didn't look at me, not even for a second. I tried to call her name, and my voice came out broken. The elevator doors slid open, and Jard shoved me inside. End of play. In the mirrored panel, I looked wrecked and unfamiliar. Jard stared at my reflection, not at me. Tomorrow is going to be brutal, he exhaled like he already knew. The door shut and my phone buzzed once, then again. My badge chirped at the scanner and my hand kept shaking. An email sat at the top of my inbox, flagged urgent. The subject line was 2 words, incident report. I stared at it until my eyes started to sting hard. I walked to my desk and pretended it was a normal morning. My screen lit up with unread messages and I ignored them. A meeting invite popped up, mandatory, no agenda. My pulse kicked up like it knew where this was going. Jard passed behind me without making eye contact. He paused, then slid a sticky note onto my keyboard. It only said, "Do not freestyle this." That tiny warning made my mouth go dry fast. I stood up, then sat back down like a coward. My phone buzzed again and I flipped it face down. I kept thinking I could outwork the problem. Then the calendar reminder hit and my time ran out clean. The hallway felt too open, like everyone could read my face. 2 coworkers stopped talking when I walked by. Maybe they were gossiping, maybe they were not. I still felt exposed, like I had a stain on my shirt visible. Outside the meeting room, I saw Sophie through the window. She sat straight, hands folded, gaze fixed on nothing. She did not look angry, and that scared me more. It looked like she had already made peace without me. Kim from HR opened the door and motioned me inside. She pointed to a chair, then placed a notepad in front of her. Another person sat beside her, quiet, eyes sharp. I knew that look from legal training videos, too late. Before we start, Kim held up one finger, calm and firm. Is there anything you want to share right now? I tried to speak and my tongue felt thick. I went with a weak joke and nobody smiled, not even once. Kim nodded toward a pitcher of water like it mattered. I reached for a cup and my hand missed the first time. Sophie watched that slip, then looked away again. I wanted to disappear into the carpet instantly. Kim asked me to describe what happened at the event. I started with the safe parts like drinks and jokes. Then my memory hit gaps and I filled them with guesses. Kim's pen stopped moving and she asked one word, video. The screen on the wall came on and my chest tightened. I saw myself from a hallway angle, moving too close. I watched Sophie shift back, then lift her hand to block me. I heard my own voice and I wanted to rip my ears off right then. Kim paused the clip mid-motion, my arm extended. Did you have permission to touch her? I opened my mouth and nothing honest sounded good. I muttered no, and the room went colder immediately. Sophie finally spoke and her voice stayed level. I told him to stop, she did not look at me. I moved away and he followed, her words came out precise. Each sentence hit like a stamp on a file. Final. I tried to apologize and it came out messy. I tried to explain the drinking and it sounded like blame. I tried to say I am not that guy, then I stopped. Because the clip showed exactly what kind of guy I was there. Kim folded her hands and the quiet stretched. We have to document this, her tone did not soften. We also received a complaint outside this room. Sophie's phone lit up and her face shifted just slightly. She slid the phone closer to herself, eyes locked on the screen. I caught one line of the message and my skin prickled. It was not from a coworker and it was not from HR. Sophie looked up at me once and I knew someone else had seen it. My phone lit up with an unknown number and I answered anyway. A man's voice came through, controlled and shaking. You need to stop contacting her, the words came out clipped. I opened my mouth and he cut in, I saw the video. I stood up so fast my chair rolled backward. My throat tightened and my first instinct was to defend myself. Not gonna lie, that impulse disgusts me now. He paused and I heard his breathing steady and angry. I was drunk, the excuse slipped out like a reflex. Silence hit the line, thick and judgmental. Congratulations, the sarcasm landed clean, no effort. Then he hung up and my screen went blank. Final. I stared at the black glass like it would offer mercy. My hands started to sweat and I wiped them on my pants. A new email arrived and the sender was HR. It wasn't a question this time, it was instructions. I walked back into that same room, knees stiff. Kim didn't invite me to sit, she just pointed. The other person was there again, watching like a metronome. Sophie's chair was empty, and that felt worse somehow. Kim slid a paper across the table, then another. Administrative leave, the phrase sounded clinical and sharp. She kept talking and I nodded like a toy. My stomach dipped when she added, no contact, effective now. I asked if I could apologize one more time. Kim's eyes didn't blink and her pen didn't move. You can write a statement, her tone made it sound pointless. The second I heard that, I knew my words had lost value. I typed my statement in a blur, then deleted it. Too defensive, too pathetic, too focused on me. I rewrote it with fewer excuses, then deleted it again. Have you ever watched yourself fail at being decent in real time? I finally wrote 3 short lines and signed my name. I admitted I crossed a boundary and I owned it. I asked for distance and promised compliance. My signature looked shaky, like a person I wouldn't trust. When I got back to my desk, my access was already limited. Folders vanished, shared chats locked, invites disappeared. A coworker glanced up, then looked away too quickly. I felt the story moving ahead of me without permission. Jard messaged one sentence and it hit hard. I can't be seen involved, there was no emoji, no softness. I wanted to hate him for it, but I couldn't. If I were him, I would do the same right. That night I drafted a message to Sophie, then stopped. The no contact order sat in my head like a siren. I stared at the send button until my eyes blurred. Then I deleted the whole thing and my hands still shook anyway. 2 days later, Kim called me back in. She didn't offer small talk and neither did I. The outcome is disciplinary action, her voice stayed neutral. I waited for the word termination and my chest went tight waiting. I didn't get fired and I didn't feel relieved. They reassigned me and it felt like exile. Mandatory training, written warning, and a final notice. Kim's eyes held mine as she added, "Any repeat, you're done." I carried my box to the new area, slow and exposed. People pretended not to see me, which is its own cruelty. One guy gave a pity smile, then turned away. I set the box down, and the silence around me got loud fast. A week passed and I avoided every hallway Sophie used. I took longer routes like a coward mapping danger. Then one afternoon I stepped out and she was there. We froze at the same time like magnets fighting close. She kept her chin level, eyes steady, shoulders squared. I lifted one hand, then dropped it before it became a wave. "I won't," my voice came out rough and small. She nodded once and the stone on her finger caught my eye bright. She walked past me without speeding up or hesitating. I stayed still, like moving would make it worse. I heard her shoes fade and my throat burned. That was the moment I understood I wasn't the main character here. Now my days are quiet and my reputation does the talking. I do my work, keep my head down, and skip every invite. People are polite but nobody is warm. Sometimes I catch a reflection in a dark monitor and I flinch because I recognize him.